Good morning, all of you. Today we are going to start 7th chapter from General Pathology is Circulatory Disturbances. And in today's lecture we are going to finish hyperemia and its types along with its causes and effects. Hyperemia have two types, active hyperemia and passive hyperemia. Before going to start circulatory disturbances, we want to know about the normal circulation. So here the picture of the normal heart and its normal circulation. So normal heart has a four chamber and these are the two atrium and two ventricles. The atrium is separated by the atrial septum and the ventricle is separated by the anteroventricular septum, and this atrium is the receiving chambers where the blood arrives, which is pushed down into the ventricles. The deoxygenated blood enters into the right atrium, means right atrium is the receiving chamber of the deoxygenated blood. Here is a two colors, first one is a blue and second one is a red. So blue color indicate the deoxygenated blood and the red color indicate the oxygenated blood. The atrium is the receiving chamber and the deoxygenated bloods enter into the right atrium through the three different veins. The superior vena cava first, and the superior vena cava delivers the blood from the upper part of the body. Second one is the inferior vena cava, and the inferior vena cava delivers the blood from the lower part of the body. And third one is the coronary sinus. He collects the blood containing from the myocardium. These are the function of the right atrium. And for the left atrium, there are the four entryways, and these are the pulmonary veins when deliver blood from lung to the heart. And this right ventricle sends blood to the pulmonary trunk and which goes to the lungs, and left ventricle send blood into the aorta. So there is the four heart valves. These ensure the universal flow of the blood, meaning the blood flow is correct direction. There are the two atrial ventricular wall, or these are also known as the AV wall. They connect the atrium corresponding to ventricles. The right one is the tricuspid wall. Why it is named is a tricuspid? Because it having a three flap. And the left one is the mitral wall, is also known as the bicuspid wall. Bicuspid means bi means two. It having a two flaps. Then when heart is relaxed, blood flow through the ventricles and contract wall will close due to the change in pressure. There is a two other walls. First one is a semilunar wall and second one is the aortic walls. These are also known as the aortic walls. The aortic walls and the pulmonary walls. They perform a main function, the preventing blood in leaving back into the ventricles. Means they perform a main function. They prevent the backflow of blood. And one peculiarity of heart, the cardiac muscles present in heart only in heart, not anywhere of our body. So this is the one more peculiarity of the heart. So having a two circuits in our body, the pulmonary circuits and the systemic circuits. So heart participate in two circuits. So blood enter into the right side of the heart, it sends to the lungs where it becomes oxygenated, and when oxygen is breathed from the air, it fuses to the lungs and the enter into the bloodstream and bind the hemoglobin, and when this turns to the left side of the heart, it complete the pulmonary circuit. So here upper part of the is a pulmonary circuit. So it receiving the oxygen and it's complete the circuit is known as the pulmonary circuit. Then second one is a systemic circuit. When the oxygenated blood leaves the left side of the heart and it's sent to throughout the body, and oxygen and nutrients all the various tissue need to circular the respiration, and it unload all oxygen and eventually it make to back right side. So heart is complete the systemic circuit. So heart performing the two circuits. First one is a pulmonary circuit and second one is a systemic circuit. These are the normal circulation of our body. What is a circulatory disturbances? Circulatory disturbances is defined as the anything that produce disturbances in pulmonary circuit or systemic circuit is called as a circulatory disturbances. So circulatory disturbances are the thrombosis, ischemia, hyperemia, hemorrhage. These are the all circulatory disturbances. But in today's lecture we are going to finish hyperemia. So let's move on the hyperemia. What is a hyperemia? Hyperemia, it is defined as a more amount of blood inside the organ or tissue than the normal. Means the blood flow to the specific organ or the specific system, so more than the normal, it's known as the hyperemia, or an excess of blood flow in the vessels supplying an organ and other part of the body. Here is the two definition of the hyperemia. Hyperemia means the excessive blood supply to the body. But the hyperemia is also divided into two types, active hyperemia and passive hyperemia. So we will study in one by one. First one is a active hyperemia. Active hyperemia means the increased supply of blood from arterial system because of the dilation of arteries or arterioles, and capillary is affected throughout the sympathetic neurogenic mechanism or via the release of vasoactive substances. So the dilation of arterial system or the dilation of the arteries having the many reasons. So active hyperemia means what is increase the supply of blood. So this is the definition of active hyperemia. And the active hyperemia, when it is occur, like a physiological responses to increase the functional demands like exercise, then these are the physiological hyperemia. Some examples of active hyperemia seen in following condition. But hyperemia is pathological also or physiological also. So neurogenic and hormonal influence. So neurogenic and hormonal influence also increase the hyperemia. Then second one is a heart and skeletal muscle during exercise. So skeletal muscle need a more oxygen or need a more nutrient during the exercise, but this is the physiological hyperemia. But inflammation is pathological hyperemia. So menopausal flush, high grade fever, goiter, these are also the pathological hyperemia. So blushing of skin or face in response to emotion or the in winter season, these are the pathological hyperemia. So here is the active hyperemia, and here is some example of the active hyperemia seen in these conditions. So causes of the active hyperemia. So first cause of the hyperemia is the exercise. Your heart and muscles need more oxygen when you are active, so blood rushes to this organ to supply extra oxygen. Your muscle need up to 20 times their normal supply of blood during the workout. This is the main one cause of the active hyperemia. Second one is a heat. So when you are running a high fever or it's hot outside, extra blood flow to your skin to help your body release heat. So heat is one also cause of active hyperemia. Third one is a digestion. After you eat, your stomach and intestine need more blood to the help them break down the foods and absorb nutrient. Then the inflammation. During an injury or infection, blood flow to the site increases. So injury need the repair process need the more nutrients, more oxygen, platelets, fibrinogens. So during inflammation the blood flow is increases. These are the one most cause of the active hyperemia. Next one is a menopause. Menopause is a woman who are the menopause often have hot flashes which causes a rush of blood to the skin, especially of the face, neck and chest, and blushing in similar response. Then release of blockage. Hyperemia can happen following the ischemia, which is a poor blood flow to an organ. So once ischemia treated, blood rushes to the area. This is the one cause of the hyperemia. These are all causes of active hyperemia. Effects of the active hyperemia. So these are it brings the additional oxygen and nutrients to the affected parts. It helps in the removal of waste material and dilution of the harmful chemical substances by bringing more fluid, and it brings an additional amount of antibodies, leukocyte, to the area. These are the effect of hyperemia, and these are the many good signs or effects of active hyperemia. Next one is a passive hyperemia. Passive hyperemia is also known as the congestions. So congestions or the passive hyperemia, the dilation of veins and capillary due to impaired venous drainage result in the passive hyperemia, or venous drainage result in passive hyperemia or venous congestion. And the congestion may be acute or chronic, and the affect tissue or organ in bluish in color due to the accumulation of venous blood. So in veins, the bloods are accumulate in passive hyperemia, and the dilation of vein and capillary due to the impaired venous drainage. So this results in the passive hyperemia. So two types of passive hyperemia. First one is the local and venous congestion, or is also known as the local or the venous passive hyperemia. So these are the results from the obstruction to the venous outflow from an organ or part of the body. For example, portal venous obstruction in cirrhosis of the liver. Then the outside pressure on the vessel walls as occur in a tight bandage, plasters, tumors, pregnancy, hernia. These are the all causes of this local or passive hyperemia. So these are the second one is a systemic venous passive hyperemia. It is a engorgement of systemic veins, for example in left sided and right sided heart failure and disease of the lungs which interfere with the pulmonary blood flow like the pulmonary fibrosis. These are the systemic venous passive hyperemia. These are passive hyperemia means the it is the accumulation of the blood in veins. These are the passive hyperemia. So passive hyperemia also have many causes. The passive hyperemia is always pathological one. The active hyperemia pathological or physiological, but the passive hyperemia is always pathological, and the pathological condition like thrombosis, embolism and hypertrophy. So failure of heart pump produce a generalized passive hyperemia. So heart pump failure, it is a most one cause of the passive hyperemia. The causes of the passive hyperemia, first one is a heart failure or the ventricular failure. The left and right ventricles are the two main pumping chambers of the heart, and the right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs and the left ventricle pumps oxygen rich blood to the body. And when the heart can't beat well, so enough to push blood through the body, so blood begins to back up, and this backup causes swelling or the congestion an organ like a liver, lungs, spleen and the kidney. So these all soft organs are affected due to the failure of the heart, and it is a one most cause of the passive hyperemia. Then another cause is a deep vein thrombosis. So deep vein thrombosis is caused by a clot in one of the deep veins. So clot formation due to the deep vein thrombosis are produced often in a lung, your lower leg. The clot can break free and get lodged in vein in your lungs called as a pulmonary embolism. So one small clot is divided into many parts, so it is travel into your capillaries and form a embolism. So embolism is also one circulatory disturbances. Then another cause of passive hyperemia is hepatic vein thrombosis. The hepatic vein thrombosis are also known as the Budd-Chiari syndrome. It is a blockage in the veins of the liver caused by blood clot. These are the all causes of the passive hyperemia. Effects of the passive hyperemia. During the hyperemia, blood accumulates in blood vessels, and due to these accumulations, the exchange of gases, supply of the nourishment, removal of waste product either stop or reduce, and this produces disturbances in metabolic activities of the endothelium. So it shows the degenerative changes due to which the large amount of plasma leaks in the interstitial spaces, and this produces swelling in our organ. So hyperemia is not repair in the stage, it passes into the necrosis. So these are the two types of the hyperemia. First one is the active hyperemia, second one is a passive hyperemia. The difference of the normal cell or the normal or the abnormal. First one is the normal. Here is a picture of the veins or there is the normal circulation. Second one is the active hyperemia. In active hyperemia, here is a large more red color, so it indicates the more blood flow. And third image is the passive congestion or passive hyperemia. Here is a more blue color, it indicates the more obstruction, so local venous obstruction. Here is the difference between the passive hyperemia and active hyperemia. So in today's lecture we finished the hyperemia, its type, its causes and effects. So I stop here. Thank you.